Hello Pokemon Masters, my name is Adept, and welcome to my deep dive on Arcsuit Cynthia and Garchomp's kit for the 5th anniversary. If you're unfamiliar, I am a high to top level Pokemon Masters trainer. I'm a part of the r/Pokemon Masters helper team, and I love covering informative content on the series. I have a small YouTube short series called Masters Minute, where I do 1-minute deep dives on various sync pair kits and game mechanics. But I think for Arcsuits, it's extremely justifiable to have a longer video because there is just so much going on here, and I want to make sure we talk about it. I am basically on Freebie's data mine site because at the time I'm recording this, Poma Tools is not updated with these kits, but I am going to pop over to Poma Tools a little bit later in the recording just to showcase some team building using base Cynthia as a proxy. But yeah, let's get into it with Arcsuit Cynthia. Yeah, my cursor's captured, so that's super awesome. It's a very small cursor, but it is there nonetheless. So as we know, she's a multi-sync pair, which means that her Sync EX is going to apply type rebuff, a negative version of her type rebuff, to all of the targets that she hits with her Sync move, which because her EX roll is Strike, she's going to be hitting all targets if you have her EX rolled ground type with a nice weakness. Stats-wise, looking at even just her 5-star stats, very simply, that's with her EX roll unlocked, but let's look at her base. 410 attack, pre-mega is super awesome. Looks like that's going to be 450 afterwards with a massive bump in HP to 100%. Or not 100%, 100 HP. I don't know if these are EX stats, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not the greatest at following actual data mine. I leave that to the data miners who are better at that. But decent stats, 354 speed is pretty awesome. But yeah, for passives, let's get into her passives. She has 5 of them. It's so many passives. She's got Ground Myth, which is a souped up version of the Ground Master passive, which we don't have, but it is a souped up version if we use the VP pairs as a baseline. So it powers up the moves of all allied sync pairs by 10% and reduces attack move damage taken by 20%. The comparison here is for the BP pairs, this is 10%. Yes, DeepL, I do not want to translate that. It's 10% at a baseline instead of 20%, so already that's so much better. And then yeah, 10% increase on power up, 3% increase on damage reduction, fairly standard number, so max 30% when on a triple ground team, max reduction 26%, fairly good numbers. Ground Judgment is a ground type rebuff leech, and it's important to know here this is the first time the user enters a battle each battle, so this is not going to be re-triggering on Mega, quite unfortunately. If it was, I think that would be a little bit too overpowered, but yeah, Ground Judgment's really good. The condition here just being the sync pair hitting the field of play for the first time means that there's very little hurdle to jump through for that. Myth Archaeologist here causes a ground zone when she causes a sandstorm, and she has sandstorm on her kit, so you'll get both, and also both field effects have an extended duration, so that's super awesome. Then she's got Mutual Trust, which is Piercing Gaze as first part, and then critical hits on everything, Pokemon moves and sync moves, and she doesn't take sand damage either. So that's just like so much going on there. And then passive number 5, it's Head Start 1, plus whenever she uses a status move, she gives herself plus 6 attack. So that's super awesome. 4 theme skills, not that those really matter. But now the fun part, her kit. I'm going to explain these out of order just because I think it makes a little more sense. Her main status move that I think she might be clicking first at the beginning of the battle is her trainer move. 1 use, applies gradual healing, super effective up next, and 5 ranks of sync move up next, which each one of those is going to be plus 10% to her next sync move. It stacks up to 10 times, so you can have up to plus 100% just from sync move up next. She's got Sandstorm, as I mentioned earlier. This goes well with Myth Archaeologist, her ground zone causing passive. She can set those herself if she needs to. But then her damaging move, she's got Sand Tomb, which is a single target trap. Nothing really to write home about, but her real strength, the B move, Almighty Rending Earthquake. 1 of 5 starts at 250 base power. It is a spread move, so it is going to be hampered a little bit. There's no extend range, multi-target reducing passive there. it's just going to be 250 base power divided over 2 targets with the spread penalty. And the activation condition, she has to set Sand. This is hardly an activation condition, but she might want to click Sandstorm first, actually, and save this for like a harder hitting sync move. Yeah. It's lower the target's defense by 1 Saturn hits the trigger for each of the targets that it hits. And then whenever it hits a trap target, gives her some sync move up next by 1 rank per. So if you're hitting into 3 trap targets in the span of 1 sync cycle, she'll get up to 9 sync move up next, which is kind of crazy. And then her sync move, it's a mega. Starts at 300 base power, which is not affected by the mega penalty, so that's always awesome. But she also increases her physical move next effect by 2 ranks. Honestly, I don't think this is necessary, and I'm so glad we have it at the same time. Yeah, multi-EX here just confirming that it lowers the type rebuff of the user's type. This is going to be of the ground type, of course. And her EX roll targeting all opponents, standard strike stuff. But now her fun stuff, her grid. Let's start looking at her 1-5 grid. I'm not the biggest fan of this sync grid viewer. I just don't like this UI quite as much as Poma Tools, though I can hover and see what these are. This is where a lot of things come. I feel like we could already see right now we are favoring a more damage-oriented approach. She's got really good damage, a 2-gauge move for 250 base power, kinda crazy. With all the multipliers she's set it up, she's got ground zone, she's got the high attack stat, she's got her max attack, she's got sure crit. There's just so much going on here, but her 1-5 grid, right? You get live as your passive on 1-5. I don't think that really matters. But yeah, so 1-5, you can take it all with 8 energy to spare. Nothing really to worry about here. There's no reset button. The blunder. Forgive me while I unclick all of these. And then because I haven't read an arc grid before, I want to make sure none of these are the free. So this is the free energy one. Okay. So another key note about the Arc Suit sync pairs is that as you raise their move level, you're going to get additional sync grid tiles that can be unlocked at no energy cost. So I think, it's just this line up. This line up, you're going to go 1 up for every move level, and that tile is unlocked for free. So here you get an extra 20 attack, that's pretty cool. And then up here, we get move gauge refresh on our Earthquake. Solid. She is 2 gauge, so it's not like that's going to be the biggest thing for most content, but it allows you to run her a little bit more easily with another heavier gauge damage dealer, and I think that's pretty cool. So if you wanted to get that, you might go something like this. You get MP refresh on her trainer move, Sands of Time, sure, Mighty Command because she needs more physical move next apparently. And then, yeah, Sand Fortress for Impervious under Sandstorm. This is pretty awesome. Soothing Sand, really cool. She's probably never going to die. You get Move Gauge Refresh on Sand Tomb. Honestly, don't think you're clicking Sand Tomb very much, so you can probably ignore this one for most content. Hit Trap Opponent Speed Down 9. I love tiles like that. And Discombobulate 4 on Sand Tomb. Again, I don't think you're using Sand Tomb very much. So again, another tile you can probably avoid. And then you just grab things like the Earthquake power, you could grab Soothing Sand and Sand Fortress if you want a little bit of QOL. And then, I don't know, probably like stats or something. Not really a bunch to write home about. But I do know that her 3-5 grid is very interesting. So we pick up a free sync move base power tile. Plus 50. That's pretty awesome. We also get Sand Tomb hit Team Apply Status Change 9, which is going to inflict Trap AoE when she uses it for the first time. I think this is actually a very important tile on the kit. Not that you necessarily need it, Again, at 1 of 5 or 2 of 5, you could be running Cynthia with a dedicated trapper, such as Bertha or Viola if you're really desperate. But having this is super nice to remove that dependency on clicking trap a bunch. It allows you to ramp your sync move up next a little bit quicker, and honestly that's a huge boon for her. So if we were to grab that, let's actually just reset this grid. I'm not a fan of how a page moves. That's weird. Yeah, see, again, as we mentioned here, we have AoE Trap. We got a Sync Multiplier on Sandstorm, which is, again, is something that she sets really easily. Haymaker, Team Sandstorm Immunity, so something like what Nia Champion Silver does. He grants this. She already does this for herself, so TBD on whether or not you need this. Same time we already covered. Some more Sync Power Tiles. These are only plus 25. This one is a plus 50. So take that as you will. Brawn Gain 9 on Sandstorm. We already covered that. Propulsion 9 on Sandstorm, so she gets extra Sync Excel when she has to set sand. Defense Crush 9, pretty awesome. So if we were to grab that. And Attack Trap 4. I kind of like this too, because it can trap all 3 targets when you use Almighty Rending Earthquake. And so what you could end up doing is just skipping something like Sand Tomb altogether. You could go something like, I'm learning this grid for the first time. Something like, that's a -7. Okay, so you'd have to overcap for this. And even then you couldn't fit it. You could cut like one of these and this. And that's 60 energy. Yeah, I like the speed a little bit more. Yeah, so this is pretty nice for a 3 of 5 sort of sync nuke oriented grid, where again, because your condition here on B move unlocking is just a Sandstorm, it's not at all trapping. You could all of a sudden ignore the Sand Tomb part of the kit and go instead for Attack Trap and take a 50-50 shot on whether or not you're going to trap the targets. Defense Crush is nice so that she can ramp her own damage rather than relying on a dedicated defense debuffer. Extra Sync Tile, and then just Sync Multipliers, to be honest. She doesn't have DPS multipliers on her grid, not that she needs it. Again, this is a ridiculously strong move that still can't miss. You know, it's not sure hit, it is still 100% accurate, which means that it can miss. But yeah, for the most part, if you are playing with Arc Cynthia, this is where you're going to top out. You get one 4 of 5 and one 5 of 5 tile, which I will cover very quickly. 4 of 5, you get +2 physical move up next when you use a sync move, so that's always nice. And if you want to go all the way to 5 of 5, you get Dust Kicker, which causes Sandstorm when she sinks, which again, going back to, what's the name of the passive? Mutual Trust? No, Myth Archaeologist, the other passive that starts with M. That's going to also cause a ground zone, because she is the one causing a Sandstorm on Dust Kicker. And so all of a sudden, at 5 of 5 Cynthia, you have an infinite sand, infinite ground zone setter, and that is just a little bit strong. So if you really wanted to, and you wanted to go +10 energy on her, you could do like Team Sand Immunity, you could grab, that's -1, you could grab this Sync tile that you missed earlier through the Attack tile, so picking up some extra attack. Team Sandstorm Immunity is here. Again, you could always cut Attack Trap, there's a lot you could do here. But yeah, even just at 3 of 5, I think her grade is more than adequate. Again, here I've covered a 5 of 5 60 energy grid that I think looks really cool. This is something that I would be excited to play if I had 5 of 5 Arc Cynthia, which there's no guarantee that I get 5 of 5 Arc Cynthia, though I would really love it. And then just checking down here, we got, the full grid. These are all things I tried to cover. Obviously I didn't look at the table, but you can check this out yourself. I will link this site in the description of this video if you want to check it out. in case Poma Tools isn't updated yet, again, give STDK the time that he needs to update Poma Tools. Absolutely respect what he's doing for the Pokemon Masters community, and want to make sure that we let that resource be as awesome as it is. So that being said, I'm going to jump over now to Poma Tools and talk about some team building with Cynthia, and I'll see you over there. Alright, it's Lazy Adept back, and I just set up a really quick overlay to put Poma Tools on the screen. Let's switch over to a team builder and clear this damage challenge team that I had in. But yeah, let's talk about team building with Cynthia. And as you can see, for the meantime, Poma Tools is not updated with Cynthia's kit. However, for this, I'm just going to be using base Cynthia as a proxy. And if you want, I can overlay certain grids on this in post, and we can take a look from there. So, for starters, let's talk about Cynthia as really her main purpose in the team, which is to be the primary damage dealer, the main source of a lot of your damage, something that she is extremely, extremely good at. It's maybe one of the best parts about her kit is just her ability to do lots of damage. And let's make this a little bit bigger so that it's maybe not that big. Let's go here so that we can actually see all the singletons. So for the first part, what you're going to want is, if you're just running her at 1 of 5, I think one of the main things you could really do if you don't want to run a dedicated trapper is get Bertha on the team. Bertha here, as we can see, she's going to be providing trap through her own Sand Tomb. And again, because she's Bertha, she's not going to be dealing nearly as much damage as Cynthia is on a DPS basis. You can also do some defensive things, reset sand. Do note that because Bertha will be the one setting sand through Bertha's Sandstorm, that's not going to trigger a ground zone with Cynthia, because Cynthia only sets ground zone when she is the one that's on the sand. You could also do something like if you wanted to run base Cynthia in this slot. Again, I can't use Cynthia because I'm using regular Cynthia as a proxy for Cynthia. Then you could do that. You could run both Cynthias together and have OG Cynthia and Garchomp be a sub DPS to your Cynthia. And again, as just a combo pair, you could, as a combo like support, you could run like an Ingo if you had Ingo. If you don't, then you could also run like an Acerola in this slot. Brings a little bit of flinch utility to the team, or the fact that I have a grid set up here. You could run like a dedicated defensive support too. Again, you don't need to bring offensive buffing with Cynthia since she already does it all herself. So here I like something like Skyla. You have her even if you are the most free to play out there. She's a story character. Really just here for speed and defense. And then who could you run to take care of speed buffs? You could run like Maxi if you had Maxi. Not that I recommend it. Or you could run like Courtney and then not need Cynthia to set up sand and ground zone. You could just have the ground zone. Who else could you run in this slot? Volo's here. Really like Maxi. Maxi or like one of the Giovannis is also a pretty good sub DPS. I only have 1 of 5 variety Giovanni, so I'd be working with this, which is not particularly amazing. I'm not a big variety Giovanni fan. He's not someone that I've used a bunch. But yeah, that really is our Cynthia. And then if we were to filter for, I don't know, like Sand Blasters, look at some off-type options. We wanted to use Cynthia as sort of like a sub DPS. You could go with Apollo, or Neo Champion Silver if you had him. But here, really the main objective is Cynthia is really just your best primary ground DPS, and that's where I think that she's going to shine the most, is as a primary ground DPS. She certainly has the stats and the numbers to do so. In fact, if I were to pop up, let's go back to let's go back to the grid. I just put those other elements on top. And oh yeah, she's got the stats to be quite awesome. If we look at original Cynthia, she's right there. She's 431 at 150 6-star EX. Here, I don't think we're looking at that. So slightly power cracked. We looked at someone like Maxi, older Master Fair. He is ground type. He's a big gauge user. 1 of 5 is sitting at 414, and these stats are max. So if we were to take him up to 5 of 5, that just makes the move more powerful. Let's test an EX. 454. So her stats are comparable. Oh, we never looked at her mega stats. 451 to 495. Yeah. So she is right up there. She has the offensive stats to be the best ground damage dealer. If you look at Precipice Blades from Maxi, for instance, at 1 of 5, that move is hitting for 189 base power at 85% accuracy. Cynthia's main damaging move, 250 base power, 100% accuracy. That's what, 33% stronger and fixes the accuracy problems? It's just a little bit crazy. Yeah, she cracks 500 attack at 150 with her EX roll. So no need to worry about that. But she's got great stats, and she has the multipliers. She compresses everything that she needs super nicely onto a ground type. Has built-in zone, piercing gaze. Oh, she fixes her accuracy. I forgot about piercing gaze on mutual trust. See, this is why we do these deep dives, because everybody learns something about these kits, including me, and I've looked at these kits a bunch today already. But yeah, they're really, I'm going to say this for all of the ARC pairs, other than like their outfits and their theme are awesome. In fact, we're listening to ARC Cynthia's theme right now. At least you are. I have this muted when I'm recording. But her theme is a banger, her outfit is a banger, her kit is absolutely incredible, and I think she legitimately might be the best damage dealer by raw numbers moving forward. Outside of, maybe she's not the best in damage challenge, because again, everything she does is tied to sand, which is extremely unfortunate, because sand triggers damage over time in damage challenge. But again, framing your expectations around how a sync pair performs in one very minor game mode with very minimal rewards is not necessarily the healthiest way to frame your expectations around new sync pairs. And I think that in spite of all that, in spite of potential skepticism and damage challenge due to sand, she's got great multipliers. I think she'll still be used there, to be completely honest. She is just absolutely S+, probably Uber tier. Ultimately, I am not someone who decides the big max investment tier list. I do work on the banner priority chart we put together every month, and I do think that Cynthia is definitely going to be top 2 there. It's really just between her and Steven as to which one's going to be better. I do think that there's a lot of appeal here to Cynthia, and that she is a very accessible damage dealer. She does a lot of damage with not a lot of setup. And so she's going to last you for quite a while just clearing ground week content, to be honest. And even not clearing ground week content, she's got plenty going. But yeah, I'm going to wrap that up here. I've been rambling for 24 minutes now, so bit of a longer deep dive than I'm used to doing, probably a bit longer than you were used to listening to. But again, I'm giving these ARC pairs the justice that they deserve. If you found this video at all helpful, I really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. I'm trying to grow my Pokemon Masters following here on YouTube, and I certainly can't do that without your support. So really, every bit of support you can give us means the world to me. And if you want to see me cover the rest of the ARC Sync pairs, I'm going to have deep dives for all of those either going up roughly around now or in the coming days. But that's going to be it for me right now. I hope you've enjoyed your time here. If you're polling for ARC Cynthia, I wish you the best of luck with your polls, and I hope she comes home early for you. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to head out now and look forward to seeing all you Cynthia havers in Passio.